Thank you for joining us tonight as we take a look at numeracy achievement and instruction at Mountain Lake Christian School. It is my objective to give you a clear picture of where our elementary students are currently regarding achievement levels in numeracy, and to provide for you a plan of action that will take our teacher instruction and student achievement to the next level. We have been doing a good job at MLC, but we can do better. Our students deserve our best efforts, and the world needs problem solvers. We intend to meet those needs. What makes us special? First, let's take a look at some helpful demographic information for the Mountain Lake community. According to the most recent census, the largest racial ethnic group represented in Mountain Lake is Caucasian at 83%. Hispanic follows at 15% and Asian at 2%. In a small community of approximately 2,500 residents, it is significant that over the years, several children have come to Mountain Lake through international adoption. Mountain Lake is located in Cottonwood County, which is noted to have one of the highest rates of poverty in the state of Minnesota. It is a highly rural community with strong Christian ties. Mountain Lake Christian School is a private, regional, interdenominational Christian pre-K through 12 school situated in a rural community. Currently, 121 students are enrolled. Ethnically, 91% of the students are Caucasian, 5% are Hispanic, and 4% are African American. The student body is comprised of 54 boys and 67 girls. Poverty, race, family structure, religious denomination, gifts and talents, and adoption add to the diversity of our student body. Many of our students receive scholarships due to financial need from area churches and committed Christians in the community, which enable students to attend MLC. Our staff is highly committed to education, student achievement, family values, and Christ. The average tenure of our staff is 20 years. There are 25 people employed at MLC. 6 are male and 19 are female. 12 hold full-time positions and 13 hold part-time positions. 2 staff members are Hispanic and the remainder are Caucasian. 4 staff members hold master's degrees and 1 has a doctorate. All teaching staff are involved in professional development opportunities. Christ is at the center of our school. We follow the 3-strand biblical principle representing strength and truth. God, family, school all play an important role in educating our students. We are a family at Mountain Lake Christian School. How do we assess needs? Teachers are a wealth of knowledge and frontline players in a classroom. Through their anecdotal notes about students and their lesson planning, identification of student needs can be addressed early and differentiated instruction and remedial instruction implemented. Our teachers have noted that the majority of students are not successful with word problems or determining what actions they need to take when attempting to answer an application problem. Most find it difficult to understand how math is interrelated to other subject areas. Students have developed a hurry up and get the right answer mentality. Many students have not learned to value the processes of math or develop needed perseverance to work through difficult problems. Timed math facts tests assess automaticity. In order to work through tasks requiring problem-solving skills, students must be able to automatically generate computational answers with speed and accuracy, beginning with the basic facts of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. When automaticity is developed, it means that students spend less time adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, and spend more time processing difficult functions embedded in the problems. Timed tests are given to grades 1 through 8 4 times each year to help track their mastery and to encourage a maintenance of those basic skills. Our MLC students appear to be delayed with mastery of facts during grades 1 through 4. However, we are seeing automaticity in all 4 operations beginning in 5th grade for most students. Maintenance has been shown through the middle school grades. We believe our 4 times a year timed tests are aiding in student automaticity, and we will continue this procedure. Terra Nova tests are given on a 2-year cycle and provide standardized information, including both comparative and cumulative information, which is important as we focus on student achievement beyond the walls of MLC. Accommodations were made for students on IEPs for reading. A reader read the problem and the student worked or answered the problem on their own. We'll be looking at K through 5 mathematics composite scores, which is a combination of math concepts and computational scores. We will be comparing national percentage rates. Scores of 25 to 75% fall into the national average range, with 50 being midpoint. These scores represent 34 boys and 31 girls, for a total of 65 students who took the tests, which were administered in March of 2016. Please note at the kindergarten level that the lowest percentage rate earned by a student was 23%, while the highest was 93%. The average of those scores gave an average national percentage rate of 67%. Please go to 1st grade and see that our lowest score there was 13% and our highest was 99%. But it averaged out at 57, just above the midpoint. Not satisfactory in our eyes. At 2nd grade, our lowest score was 31% and our highest was 95%, with an average NPR for that class of 59. Again, lower than we would like. We were concerned especially by our 3rd and 4th grade scores. In 3rd grade, the 19% low score and the high-end 97% averaged out to 49% national percentage rate, below the midpoint of 50%. At 4th grade, we had a low score of 5%. I want to remind you that we did include all of our students on IEPs for math and reading. The high in that class was really only a 72, so it gave a very low NPR average of 33%. In 5th grade, the low score was 11% and the high was 98, averaging out to 65. A little improvement there, but still all of these scores are lower than we would like to see our students perform at. So looking at our current numeracy needs, what did our testing show? Our students have significant numeracy needs in the areas of math, facts, automaticity in the early grades. They have needs in the area of making connections to other academic areas and needs applying problem-solving skills to real-world problems. There is a need for a stronger numeracy instructional program at MLC. There is also a need for additional support services for our lowest scoring students. Student learning is at the heart of education, and curriculum decisions provide the foundation for what we teach and when to assure student learning. Designing a quality curriculum is of vital importance to our students. The process of designing a solid curriculum focused on student achievement takes a commitment of time, energy, and resources on the part of everyone involved in writing or reviewing the school's curriculum. At Mountain Lake Christian School, we are in the process of reviewing our numeracy curriculum for grades K through 5. We began this process in the fall of 2016 as we began to see glitches and gaps in numeracy and a growing dissatisfaction with our Math UC mathematics materials as evidenced by our scores. We knew that we needed to provide our MLC students with a deeper understanding of math in the real world and to help them become critical thinkers. A search of available research and programs led us to Singapore Math in Focus. We began implementing those materials in support of our math curriculum in the fall of 2017. Singapore's strong focus on problem solving and conceptual understanding is a good fit because it matches well with our desire to move students from concrete to pictorial to abstract with numeracy concepts and to create problem solvers. What drives MLC's curriculum decisions? Our goals. Our goals to focus on teaching enduring understandings to our students. Knowing that a series or set of materials, we continue to work to refine our standards, benchmarks, and essential questions. As a private school, we are privileged to have the flexibility to rewrite or replace standards as we deem necessary. We do, however, use the Minnesota Department of Education's Mathematics K-12 academic standards as our base and work from there. We also benchmark against other districts to assure that the curriculum prepared for our students is, at a minimum, in line with other Minnesota and neighboring schools. Mountain Lake Public Schools, Windham Area Schools, Comfrey School District, and Malacca Independent School District have all served as reference points for us. Authors and educators Tomlinson and McTeague explain that what we teach and what assessment evidence we need to collect to verify student understanding is the focus of understanding by design, which is predominantly a curriculum design model. Mountain Lake Christian School began looking at UBD and backward design approximately 8 years ago at the high school level, and it has become an integral part of designing our grades 6 through 12 educational program. We are using that model as we review our numeracy curriculum. The 3-stage backward design process for curriculum design includes identifying desired results, establishing acceptable evidence, and planning learning activities and instruction. UBD is not a once-and-done design. It is a living curriculum design model. For example, essential questions must be reviewed to see that they are current and relevant as our world continues to change, and to evaluate that students are able to successfully gain enduring understandings. What also drives our curriculum decisions is our goal to align understandings and instruction to district standards. As we seek to align our understandings and instruction to these district standards for numeracy, essential questions will continue to drive all curriculum development. Our elementary staff is learning about curriculum mapping, as we see it as our most effective organizational tool to use district-wide. Mapping is a great exercise for staff to examine what they teach and when. It is also an excellent communication tool between staff members and grade levels to gain an understanding of what is being taught in other classrooms and across those grade levels. Jacobs suggests that teachers are the only ones who can create the maps alone or by grade level, but that by going through a series of reviews, teachers of other grades can become more aware of what is being taught. Gaps and overlaps in content and instruction can be ferreted out and adjusted for better vertical alignment of instruction. Professional learning communities provide an excellent environment for staff to learn, share, work, and grow together, enhancing the learning environment of the school. What else drives our curriculum decisions? Our goal to measure student understandings through authentic and high-quality assessments. Creating and using authentic, high-quality assessments is a necessary step in curriculum design because we must measure student learning if student achievement is our fundamental purpose. Our staff at MLC is growing in this area and must continue to learn about student measurement, as we have not, at the elementary level, used many pre-assessments and have relied more heavily on summative tools than formative ones. Student assessment during the formative process will be an area of emphasis for professional development as we continue through the process of reviewing our numeracy curriculum. With student achievement at the center of our work to improve numeracy understanding at Mountain Lake Christian School, understanding by design, curriculum mapping, and relevant assessment answer the necessary what and how questions related to curriculum. Empowering students through best practices in instruction is important. Extending our work to cover the questions of whom we teach, where we teach, and how we teach, instructional practices enter the picture. We are committed to practicing differentiated instruction, which is predominantly an instructional design model, to provide effective strategies and meaningful targeted activities for all of our students. The primary goal of differentiated instruction is to ensure that teachers focus on processes and procedures that ensure effective learning for varied individuals. Moss and Brookhart state that differentiated instruction recognizes students' varying background knowledge, readiness, language, preferences in learning, and interests, and provides multiple paths for learning new information and practicing new skills. Planning for differentiation at the outset of a lesson focuses the teacher's eyes and thoughts on the needs and assets of the students, which enhances student learning. Our staff will learn to effectively differentiate instruction and implement content and context design strategies through professional development opportunities. How does a school like MLC select instructional strategies to implement school-wide? Research and results lead the way. Marzano's research indicates that shifting from a teacher outcomes perspective to a student outcomes perspective makes intuitive sense, since instructional designs generate certain mental states and processes in learners' minds, which in turn enhance students' learning, which is the ultimate goal of this instruction. Taking the focus off of teachers and putting it on the students keeps us mindful that they are why we teach. It also causes us to know our students more intimately while maintaining a strong knowledge base. At MLC, we have selected these 3 design strategies: conduct knowledge application lessons, use strategies that appear in all types of lessons, and use engagement strategies for several reasons. They create thinkers, provide natural opportunities for differentiation of instruction, keep students actively involved in the process of learning, and support the understanding by design process. Let's now look at the specific elements selected under each of these design strategies or categories. According to Marzano, knowledge application lessons engage students in activities that require them to apply what they have learned in unique situations, providing opportunities for enhanced discovery. These lessons involve scaffolding of content from the direct instruction lessons and practicing lessons, and then leading students to deeper understandings. Engaging students in cognitive complex tasks is a natural fit for Mountain Lake Christian School culture because we value, promote, and support higher order thinking or cognitive and metacognitive processing at all levels. We strive to create children who think beyond basic responses and then think about how they think. The world is looking for problem solvers. We want to grow them at MLC. This element involves working through tasks which require multiple mental steps while using acquired knowledge in novel ways. Strategies include experimental inquiry, problem solving, decision making, investigation, and invention tasks. Providing resources and guidance is another instructional element that related to conducting knowledge application lessons. As students work through cognitively complex tasks, the teacher shifts from providing new content or orchestrating the way students are analyzing content to providing support as students work with some relative independence on knowledge application tasks. This shifts the heavy lifting of learning onto the students and increases their ownership of the tasks at hand. Strategies include using proficiency scales, providing informational resources and access, teaching research skills, and creating cognitive dissonance. Posting learning targets for each student for each lesson is another strategy described by Moss and Brookhart, and is shown to be an effective strategy to help the students and the teacher stay focused on the goal of the lesson. The focus of this instructional design area, using strategies that appear in all types of lessons, is on helping students continually integrate new knowledge with old knowledge and revise their understanding accordingly. This continual looping of content solidifies their knowledge base, allowing them to mesh new content with old through bridging gaps and building connections. Students are taught to reframe and correct understandings as they gain new knowledge. The process of decision-making, evaluating new knowledge, and adapting to new knowledge is extremely important in our rapidly changing world. This design area supports students working through cognitively complex tasks. The following strategies will be used in our classrooms to enhance numeracy instruction. Previewing strategies provide students with a glimpse of the content that the teacher is about to address. Because these strategies are effective in eliciting and engaging students' prior knowledge, they can be effectively used with direct instruction, practicing and deepening lessons, as well as with knowledge application lessons. Strategies include informational hooks, bell ringers, skimming, preview questions, KWL, and word splashes. Highlighting critical information involves the teacher explaining to the students what knowledge is of higher import and what is less critical to their understanding. Pointing this out to the students in advance helps them navigate the waters of excessive and supplemental information. Strategies include using visual activities, using narrative activities, using pause time, using explicit instruction to convey critical content, and providing advanced organizers to identify critical content. Reviewing content strategies provide students with various opportunities to review prior knowledge and loop with the new content, which may alter their current thinking. Strategies include cumulative review, close activity, summary, and questioning. The staff at MLC has spent several hours learning how to ask quality questions with directed purpose. We also value training the students to be quality question askers. Revising knowledge strategies provide students with concrete opportunities to change, add to, and delete from their prior knowledge base. The task of revising previous learning is also called accommodation and restructuring by other educational researchers. Strategies include academic notebook entries, peer feedback, assignment revision, and writing tools. Reflecting on learning provides opportunities to assist the students in focusing on the content as well as on themselves. Reflecting on their roles as learners develops a healthy framework for growth. Metacognition is a powerful mental growth activity. Strategies include reflective logs, exit slips, and 2-column notes. Organizing students to interact socially and academically requires thought and cultural awareness. Tilliston and Darling stress the importance of intentionally differentiating context, which speaks to the culture of the students. They make a strong case for teachers to develop social competence, which deals with relationship skills, responsiveness, flexibility, and empathy. Keeping cultural context in mind while planning lessons increases the likelihood of students gaining an understanding of presented concepts and knowledge. This concept supports Marzano's organizing students into to interact design area. Strategies include job cards, predetermined buddies to help form ad hoc groups, student tournaments, and inside-outside circle. Reteaching essential vocabulary is a critical aspect of differentiating lessons in a classroom. Learning essential vocab can level the playing field in many situations for students. Teachers must explicitly plan to teach vocabulary at the beginning of lessons to assure that cultural differences and background experiences do not hinder the learning of any of the students. Using engagement strategies is the third instructional design area selected to improve student achievement at Mountain Lake Christian School. For students to be ready to learn, they must have their needs met relative to engagement, order, a sense of belonging, and a sense of high expectations. There must be a mental readiness prior to students engaging in the process of learning. Marzano clarifies mental readiness as being the time when students are paying attention, energized, intrigued, and inspired. Optimal learning occurs at this time. Increasing response rates is a positive move for all students. The more opportunities students have to respond encourages a commitment to answering, responding to queries, and encourages them to be ready to answer with understanding. Strategies include random names, hand signals, response chaining, choral response, and wait time. Using physical movement is directly connected to the energy levels of the students in a classroom setting. Knowing the students intimately is an asset in determining how much and when physical movement would be beneficial. It also makes sense physiologically. Movement increases blood flow to the brain, which stimulates engagement. Strategies include stand up and stretch, vote with your feet, and corners activities. Presenting unusual information stimulates students' sense of intrigue about content, which piques their interest in the content being presented. If something is out of the ordinary, we tend to have a heightened interest in learning about it. With the abundance of information available to teachers, finding unusual information or perspectives on a subject is just a few clicks away. This instructional design area has the potential of adding a bit of humor to the lesson, which also increases student engagement. Strategies include web quests, fast facts, and believe it or not. Providing opportunities for students to talk about themselves is highly motivating and promotes a friendly, welcoming environment. It also is inspirational to the students themselves and others when they share their ideas, reflections, and thoughts. This kind of open sharing and celebrating promotes a strong sense of community. At Mountain Lake Christian School, we promote this with the understanding that all gifts and talents come from God to each of us uniquely, and that we are blessed by His abundance and love. Strategies include interest surveys, life connections, and informal linkages during class discussions. Motivating and inspiring students occurs when students have opportunities to be self-actualized and when they have opportunities to be connected to something greater than self. Students need to feel that they are involved in the process of becoming who they are meant to be in the future and that they are connected to something important and valuable. This promotes motivation at a high level. Strategies include growth mindset cultivation, academic goal setting, and personal projects. At MLC, all first grade students watch the videos and participate in discussions and activities provided by ClassDojo.com in an effort to help develop a growth mindset during the early years of education. We believe that the students at Mountain Lake Christian School will be empowered by providing training for our teachers in these instructional design areas and by providing support necessary for implementation of the outlined instructional strategies. Over the years, the pendulum of professional development has swung back and forth, leaving teachers with bits and pieces of knowledge and practices that have not provided the necessary framework for long-term success with regard to student achievement and closure of achievement gaps. This has been true at Mountain Lake Christian School. While some waves of PD, professional development, have produced long-lasting effects, such as our study and implementation of understanding by design for curriculum design, there have been years of fragmentation. This is partially the result of changing administrators every few years. Fragmented, unfocused workshops and programs have not done enough to meet the ongoing needs of our students. We see the value of quality professional development as a means of building the capacity for sustained student learning and success. As educational leaders, we must strive to design professional development plans that are targeted and consistent while being organic and evolving. Education is not a stagnant field, and educators must be willing to grow and develop. We propose to do this through focusing on student achievement, engagement of all school employees, and evaluation with quality feedback as we strive to develop a stronger sense of numeracy among our elementary students. During the course of a busy day, it is a challenge to stay focused on what really matters. When I think of the word focus, I am reminded of the Billy Crystal movie City Slickers, where Curly shares the secret of life. When this rough and tough trail boss is asked what's really important, he responds, just one thing, leaving the audience and Billy Crystal dying to know what that one thing is. In education, the one thing is student achievement. When a school maintains a consistent focus on student achievement, progress is made. According to Reeves, high-impact professional learning is directly linked to student learning. With such a direct link, professional development must be valued and promoted by school leaders. While building numeracy at MLC, we will be focusing on effective practices and staff empowerment. This will be done in an environment of mutual respect and trust. It is our goal to examine all available data, including demographic information, assessment results, teacher notes, and student math journals. It will be necessary to look at learning outcomes using a cause and effect platform to determine what is working and what is not. We will also need to look for ancillary and unexpected outcomes from our teaching practices. The pathway to student achievement in math in our elementary grades is focused numeracy instruction. Our first area of emphasis will be differentiated instruction, where staff will read, research, and incorporate new ways to effectively plan and implement differentiation in their lessons. Recognizing that staff members are at different stages of learning, they will be encouraged to study and incorporate into their lessons some of the selected content and context design strategies, conducting knowledge application ideas, strategies that appear in all types of lessons, and student engagement strategies as determined by their grade level and class makeup. We view Mountain Lake Christian School as a community of lifelong learners, and all employees will participate in professional learning communities with the expectation of analyzing their roles in the school with relationship to promoting student learning and, more explicitly, promoting numeracy skill development. PLCs that positively impact school learning are committed to continuous improvement, collective responsibility, and goal alignment. An essential question for each PLC will be, how can we promote student numeracy at MLC? Just as each child must have the opportunity for differentiated learning opportunities, so should staff members. PLCs will be expected to be considerate of staff learning modalities, abilities, interests, and culture as they focus on student achievement in the area of numeracy. Professional development is a process. Quality professional development is a practical mechanism to turn our ideals into reality. As we are in the process of rewriting our numeracy curriculum, it will be important for our staff to be flexible and mindful that growth is the goal and not perfection. As an educational leader, I must be an active assessor and in communication with my staff frequently. MLC is blessed with a cohesive staff of hardworking teachers who desire to learn and grow. We are all excited to improve in the area of numeracy instruction. Providing constructive, specific feedback is critical, yet a challenge in a tight-knit, Minnesota-nice rural community. Just like my staff, I have room to grow in order to assist our Mountain Lake Christian School students to become more proficient numerate learners. At Mountain Lake Christian School, we are in the process of reviewing our numeracy standards to provide a deeper level of understanding and to allow staff to focus on what is really important for our students to learn to be successfully numerate, building mathematical connections to the world around them. With Common Core arrived a new and improved focus on mathematics. There has been a shift from covering many disconnected topics at a shallow level to deeper coverage of targeted topics. New Common Core and Minnesota State standards align with three basic principles: focus, coherence, and rigor. At MLC, we intend to incorporate these principles into development of our numeracy curriculum through curriculum mapping, intentional differentiation, and 21st century skills. We view this as a 5-year process and have worked through the first year and a half so far. The desire is to have our students college or career ready at the time they graduate. We see the next 3+ years as a time of focusing on curriculum mapping, intentional differentiation, and 21st century skills. While visiting with Dr. Melissa Radicke, Director of Instruction for Windham Area Schools, she stressed the value and importance of curriculum mapping. She suggested that it serves several educationally critical purposes. Jacobs agrees with this high calling for mapping. And mapping is another excellent focus for PLCs. It forces teachers to spend time digging deeply into the standards of their subject areas, dissecting the standards to ferret out their true purposes and expectations. The closer the staff works with the standards and attends to the exact wording, the closer they will align their own planning and teaching to those standards through deeper understanding. Another important value that mapping adds is cross-grade level skill alignment. Once maps are developed, teachers from other grades and outside stakeholders must review them, providing fresh eyes to spot gaps or overlaps in instruction and content. Thorough reviews develop commitment to the process of mapping and better understanding of a school's or district's curriculum, spanning all grade levels. Curriculum mapping is an excellent management tool to help teachers and students stay focused, which is one of the pillars of Common Core standards. Our MLC staff will be given time and needed instruction to complete grade-level curriculum maps for numeracy. It is understandable that this is a large and ongoing process, with review and revision being necessary steps. We believe in the value and power of differentiation, and that training the staff to purposefully plan for differentiation in every lesson will have a positive impact on student achievement. Over the years at MLC, differentiation happened as a last-minute option as needed. This will be the focus of staff work done in professional learning communities. Essential vocabulary and learning targets are two important considerations when planning these lessons for diverse learners. Through observation and evaluation, the administration will guide the teachers to a high level of proficiency with each of these differentiation and success-oriented strategies. Vocabulary serves as an interdisciplinary bridge for students by engaging their prior knowledge and connecting that knowledge to new vocabulary and concepts, thereby enhancing learning. Pre-teaching essential vocabulary is important in any classroom, but in the diverse classroom, it is vital. Tilliston and Darling agree that when seeking to improve academic achievement and close the gaps in achievement for children of poverty, students from diverse cultures, and English language learners, teaching vocabulary takes on critical significance. Teaching essential vocabulary is one way to level the field in a diverse classroom culture. It leads the students to a deeper level of understanding. One of the previewing strategies outlined by Marzano earlier teaches vocabulary through word splashes. In this strategy, students engage with words associated with new content by sorting the terms into categories that make sense to them. Word splashes is an effective differentiation strategy. Other vocabulary strategies, such as vocabulary journaling, will be explored. Learning targets or goals are another valuable strategy for differentiating lessons to meet the needs of all students. The specificity with which you present these objectives or goals or targets determines the impact they will have on student achievement. Our teachers will learn to write specific and understandable lesson targets from a student's point of view, using student language, and will consistently post them for students to see. Teachers will go over the learning target for each lesson. This is a means of keeping the teacher and the students on track. It gives students a real sense of ownership over their own learning, reminding them of what it looks like to meet the goal of the lesson. Consistency in posting and sharing with the students is critical to the successful use of learning targets. Quality standards must be our framework as we prepare students for college and careers in the 21st century. We must be open to new ways of teaching and use discernment as we develop curriculum and lessons to help our students find success in the world beyond the walls of Mountain Lake Christian School. It is important to remember that our job is to prepare them while in here to be successful out there. Our staff will be tasked with reading and reflecting on the book Grit by Angela Duckworth. It holds a wealth of knowledge about building resilience, a needed character trait in our students. Working with our new Singapore Math in Focus materials, the accompanying professional development has been a real push towards putting the heavy lifting of learning onto the students by asking questions and not telling the students the answers, and by emphasizing real-world problem solving. We will continue to expand our interdisciplinary approach to teaching by deliberately looking for and highlighting mathematical connections in art, science, language, music, Bible, and history. Encourage students to see mathematics in the world around them. We must define success. What will it look like for our MLC students? We will define success in the following ways. With a 20% increase in the number of students who reach established goals for automaticity in their grade assigned operations regarding math facts. 2, growth in problem-solving skills as demonstrated in math journals while using Singapore Math in Focus and their excellent anchor problems. And thirdly, national percentage rates. The class averages of 75% or higher on math composite scores on the Terra Nova standardized test is what we will be looking for. I leave you with our expected outcomes. We may not be where we want to be yet, but through perseverance, commitment, and common goals, our students will become high achievers in numeracy, ready to impact the world for good. Mountain Lake Christian School is up to the task of creating high-achieving Numerate learners who will be problem solvers and world changers. Thank you, and we appreciate your support as we work to develop these high-achieving Numerate learners at Mountain Lake Christian School.